What's up, YouTube? Hope you guys are all having a great day today, as great as can be in this crazy time that we're living in. I wanted to go live. The last couple of weeks, I went on live and was actually playing some video games while I live streamed, and so seems like a lot of my audience doesn't enjoy the gameplay side of things. So decided to go live with you guys this week, and you guys get to see my face for what it's worth. So let me know in the comment section where you guys are tuning in from. Let's see, turn on the live chat here. So yeah, let me know where you guys are watching from. Just to give you guys a couple of quick updates on my YouTube channel. I'm probably sitting on about maybe 8 videos right now that I'm currently working on. They're all in various stages of being completed. One of the videos that I'm getting ready to put out is going to talk about how things are going to be affected moving forward. I don't know how it is in your neck of the woods, wherever it is that you guys are watching from. Let me know actually in the comments where you're watching this live stream from. But it seems like the trend right now, like things are getting a little bit better. I'm in Florida, and I'm hearing that a lot of places, like now there's actually conversations about kind of reopening things and getting things started. So I don't know. I think we're coming up on the time where we need to start thinking about how things are going to be different, and how are we going to move forward with photography and with our careers and our passions. So let's see, we've got Q Carson. How's it going? What's up, bro? In San Diego. I was almost in San Diego for a job second week of March, and it got canceled, of course. Major bummer, but hopefully I'll be able to get out there sometime this year. Simo Boss from Saudi Arabia. Man, how's Saudi Arabia been? Has it been affected badly by this coronavirus outbreak? I feel like I haven't heard anything out of Saudi Arabia. So, Doug Hansgate, how's it going? Buffalo, New York. Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're staying safe. I don't know if Buffalo's as bad as Manhattan and Brooklyn and Queens and some of these other places, but let's see. Q Carson, miss you at WPPI this year. Yeah, man. I'm looking back and I'm like, man, I'm really happy that WPPI happened without a hiccup. It was an interesting year, but yeah, definitely missed you, man. Let's see. Robert from Somerset, New Jersey. Man, you were like right around the corner from where I used to live. Doug says, missing you this weekend. Yeah, man. So I would be, let's see, what's today? This is mid-April. So I was planning on being at the Can-Am Expo towards the end of the month. And unfortunately, because of this coronavirus stuff, yeah, we can't do it. So hopefully next year things will be back to normal, and or if it gets rescheduled for this year, I don't know. But definitely want to be a part of that whenever we're through the woods, man. Simo says, yeah. It's from Saudi Arabia. Cool. So yeah, at any rate, so when it comes to the content that I'm putting out there, I'm trying to just be a little bit more active. So what does that mean? Well, I'm going to try to do a lot more reviews of products, because I have a lot of products right now that are in queue that I've just been waiting to really kind of use and use it for a period of time, so that when I give you guys my opinion, that it's one that's, grounded in some sort of reality, that I've tested this stuff out and got a good feel for it. So I have some microphones, some monitors, some lenses. I actually have my very first, actually, no, that's a lie. This is my third Cine lens, which is the Zeiss 35. It's one of the CP3 lenses that I want to do a little video review on. Got a lot of products that I want to try to do some reviews here on my channel. And so that's going to be one of the big things that you're going to see here over the next few weeks is since I'm here locked down, just going to do some videos, give you guys some of my takes on these different products that I've been using for a little bit and kind of go from there. Let's see. Doug says the Can-Am Expo, March 12th, 13th, and 14th, 2021. Dude, that's awesome. Count me in. That's awesome. Sucks that it's not going to be rescheduled for this year, but great that it's coming back next year. Let's see. Florio, how are you? Nice to see you. Thanks for dropping into the live stream. So if you guys have any questions, I decided I wanted to do like a quick update and also to do like a Q&A. So whatever questions it is that you guys have, leave them in the comment section and I'll try to tackle as many of them as I can in the next, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes. But in the meantime, so the videos that I'm currently working on, why I wanted to do this live stream as well was to kind of get your feedback for what you want to see more of here on my channel. And also to let you guys know that for those of you who were watching some of the live streams that I did in March, where I was playing some games and talking to you guys, if you guys are into gaming and you want to see that style of content, I started a second YouTube channel, which is called Gaming with Creatives, that I'm going to be putting a lot of effort and brain power into in these next few weeks. I already posted a video up. I have a second video that should hopefully go up next week. So yeah, check out Gaming with Creatives. Let's see. Hi, Mr. Killis, watching from Budapest, Hungary. Thanks for everything. Thanks for watching. Budapest. That's so cool. Like, how awesome is that? Like, I'm in Florida and I've got somebody from Budapest watching. Like, technology is awesome. Gotta love it. How is it in Hungary? Hopefully it's not ravaging the your area. Let's see. Do a smartphone photography video. Yeah, you know, here's the funny thing. I actually have a video with the see if I have it on my table. No, I don't. So I have the Sony Xperia. I think it was the Xperia 1, and I did a video actually, and we never put it out. So I have all the footage, and it's just a matter of just kind of going through the footage and making a video out of all the B-roll stuff that we shot. So I do have that, and you will see that. Let's see, Kenwick, Washington. John, how are you? So yeah, I do want to do more in terms of doing like smartphone photography and things like that. I know you guys have kind of been following me for a long time for, you know, off-camera flash and things of that nature, and I want to still continue to do that. But obviously with this coronavirus stuff, doing studio photography and things like that is going to be next to impossible. It's not going to be the responsible thing to do. So got to do something different, right? Got to put up some other types of content. So I'd love to know. We're talking about smartphone photography. That's definitely something that I could do. I don't necessarily need to have you know, people to do that and to demonstrate that. You know, I was planning on doing a lot more video related content because, believe it or not, this is something I don't think I've ever talked about this on my channel, but I actually started in videography. Like, my business actually started from me wanting to start a business where I created video content for small businesses. And this was back when YouTube was, you know, it was a thing, but I've always wanted to basically create content for businesses and you know, leverage some of the newer technology to be able to do that. And so I started down that road and quickly realized, like, it's really hard whenever you go to a networking event and you try to talk to somebody and you say, hey, I'm a videographer, let me show you my work. And it's like, do you have 5 minutes or 10 minutes, right? Versus like, as a photographer, hey, let me show you my work. And I could just scroll through my phone and you could see straight away, like, okay, yeah, you're competent or you're great or you're not. You can see it straight away. So I started to make that shift towards photography, but I've always had a passion for video. And so hopefully that kind of shows with some of the content that I post. But I'm getting back to that. So you're going to see a lot more video related content coming out. So going through this here. So Doug says talks about social media marketing. Totally. That is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. And if my audience will support that, I will totally put out those videos. Because I think social media marketing is probably one of the biggest opportunities that every photographer should take advantage of today. And a lot of them aren't. A lot of them are being fuddy-duddies, for a lack of a better word, about the whole social media thing. They're like, oh, I don't need that. My work speaks for itself. I mean, it might, but social media marketing is a big thing. So perhaps I will make some videos on that. I think that's a great idea. Evan, what's going on? He says, what are your thoughts on the new C8 Corvette? All right, so I had the C7 Corvette, loved it. The way that it looks, the way that it drives, beautiful machine. However, it is insanely uncomfortable on the inside. I'm 220-ish pounds. I'm about 6 foot. I have like knocked flesh off of my shins, like putting my leg into the car, because it's not very spacious on the inside. So if the C8, which is probably the most beautiful car that I've seen in a very long time, and definitely the most beautiful Corvette that I've seen, if it's as uncomfortable on the inside as the C7 was, I don't know that I could get down with that car. And it's not even just for the driver. Like even on the passenger side, it was very cramped. It's like very much this like cockpit feel in the C7, but for the passenger side, like it's just not comfortable. There's no room to really back the seat away from the dash. It's very narrow. So if you're a bigger person, like 240, 250 and above, you're going to have a really uncomfortable time in that car. So I love it. It looks beautiful, but man, I hope they make it a little bit bigger on the inside. Alan, good question. He says, how are you challenging yourself creatively during quarantine? I'm really taking the opportunity now within the time that I have to be able to just learn some new skills, to go out and watch tutorial videos, to practice my retouching, to learn new things, right? And I know if you guys watch my YouTube videos, you guys know that Skillshare has been a big part of my YouTube channel in these last few months. They've been a big supporter and a sponsor of my content. And so I say this, what I'm about to say is not sponsored by them, right? But in all honesty, like I've been watching and binge watching a lot of content on Skillshare, because what better time do we have to try to get better and to learn something new? So I've been looking at retouching videos. I've been looking at design videos, basically anything that I feel like I haven't had the time to learn. I've been watching videos from different creators, and to be honest with you guys, don't be surprised if you guys see a video series from me on Skillshare in the upcoming months, because it's something that I'm heavily working on right now. So that's one of the things as well. Started a Patreon, which I'm working on getting the Patreon going and putting content on there. Working on getting my blog on my website up and going and putting some of the reviews that maybe the video doesn't make sense to do, so I'm just going to put it on my blog. So just working on a lot of different things, and just trying to prepare for what life and what business is going to look like once this whole pandemic thing is over. So let's see. Question: if you could select just one modifier and stick with it forever, what modifier would it be and why? So if I could only have one light modifier from now until the end of time, I'm going to say it would probably have to be an umbrella. And the reason for that is that with an umbrella by itself with a silver interior is going to give you a really nice quality of light. It's going to be a harder light, but you can get some really nice hard light from an umbrella. But then if you want to soften it, it's not that hard to throw like a diffusion cloth over the top of it and get like a softer quality of light. It's affordable, it's portable, So to me, I feel like the umbrella is like the perfect modifier, you know. So if I had to have one from here on out, I feel pretty good with an umbrella. I would take my chances. Let's see, Florio. I'm from Bucharest, Romania, currently living in Long Island, New York. I can recommend you to visit these three cities if you can. You would be amazed. Wien, Budapest, and Bucharest. Man, I would love that. Romania, like going overseas in general, like I don't know, you guys might not know this, but prior to becoming a professional photographer, I traveled very little. Um, I I've always had anxiety about flying. So, for example, let's say the 10 years prior to becoming a professional photographer, I mean, I could count the number of times that I flew on like one hand. You know, I went to Hawaii one time, went to Seattle for Creative Live one time, um, went to Puerto Rico. I mean, I barely, I might not even have five that I did prior to becoming a professional photographer. You know, this year alone, I mean, I flew to Nashville, flew to Miami when I was in New York, flew to Las Vegas. So, I mean, I probably flown more in the beginning of 2020 that I did like for the first 30 years of my life. Like it's crazy. Um, so for international travel, man, I would love to do that. Like I'm just now getting to the point to where my anxiety levels are a little bit lower when it comes to traveling, but yeah, that would be amazing. Doug says working with Hootsuite and it is pretty cool. Yeah, I used to use them a long time ago, and I need to give them another look because I feel like that makes the whole process of like keeping up with social media a little bit easier. So let's see, Mikhail. Greetings for a native New Yorker relocated to New England. Oh man, dude, that's got to be different. Going from New York to New England, that's awesome. Best of luck there. Hopefully things aren't too bad. Let's see. Simo says, I follow you and I like your posts. Thank you. I appreciate that. Alan says, any thoughts on the AI features in Luminar 4 for portrait editing uh, from an expert retoucher? I have not had the opportunity to use Luminar 4, so I cannot say with certainty. I could say that I used it before it was called Luminar. I think it was called like, I don't remember what it was called. It was called something different. And back then when I used it, I wasn't crazy about it. But I know Luminar 4 has been getting a lot of press, and I might have to try that. Maybe that'll be a video. It's just like testing out Luminar 4 and seeing how that is. So, Rick, how's it going? He says, how will this crisis affect camera gears? I hope cheaper, since I want to believe lenses are overpriced. That's a really good question. In terms of gear, I think it's going to have a really strong impact, because here's the thing. China, a lot of the gear that we get is manufactured there. Some of it, whether it's the whole product, parts of it, manufacturing in some way, shape, or form is coming out of China. I know here in the US, there's been a lot of businesses that have been heavily affected by the tariffs that were imposed on China. And a lot of products have been kind of, the pricing is a lot higher for these products because of these tariffs. So I don't know. I think with this crisis, I'm hoping that it corrects those things. I hope that economies get a lot more competitive about, obviously putting out products at price points that people can afford. But you have to understand that the cost of doing business now is probably going to go up. I don't think that business is actually like things are going to be cheaper, right? Because I think that there's going to be a lot of struggles for companies to make these products and to do them at a decent enough quality, and to bring them out in a decent period of time. You have to have the manpower and female power to do that, the brain power. So I think that a lot of this is going to get affected. I think things are going to get delayed. I think that where companies maybe would have put out multiple products, maybe they only put out one. Um, so, I don't think people are going to be buying as much. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's really affected people too much these days. I still feel like people are buying stuff if they can find it. They're still spending money. But I think that companies are going to have a hard time with just ramping up production. I think that the things that are coming out in 2020 that are really exciting, I feel like uh, they're going to be hard to get a hold of, right? It's going to be kind of tough for stock levels to get to the appropriate place that we've been used to. So I think like heavily anticipated products are going to be really hard to get a hold of. So I don't know. Maybe we'll find ourselves in a scenario like when game consoles come out. Like I remember pretty much every Nintendo console, the Switch, the Wii, the GameCube, like Super Nintendo, like every time a new console comes out from Nintendo, there's always this like black market, right? Like people go, they stay in line, they get these products, and then they hit up eBay and then they resell it for like double the price. I could see something like that happening with photography products that are highly anticipated for 2020. Like they'll come out and they're going to be in limited supply and people are going to want it. And I'm sure people are going to buy it and just resell it and upcharge. And so hopefully that doesn't happen, but I have a feeling it will. Let's see. Zeus Blind, greetings. Doug says Luminar 4 is pretty impressive and is great for a quick B grade edit. Yeah, I from what I saw, it looks really good. For me, that B grade edit I do in exposure, alien skin exposure software. So Luminar 4 would have to do some really wicked things for me to like bump exposure from being my like B grade of edit, but definitely want to test it out. Florio says, Miguel, I have Lightroom and Photoshop. A lot of portrait photographers are saying that Capture One is a must-have. What do you think? I'm on the edge if to buy it or not. So here's what I would say about that. Personally, for me, I'm a studio guy, and I shoot Sony. So when it comes to tethering, probably the best program out there for tethering right now has to be Capture One. So by default, I end up using Capture One a lot. But I would say that when it comes to processing your raw files, I personally enjoy using Capture One a lot. But if for some reason I didn't have Capture One, I could do everything that I do in Capture One in Lightroom. It's just going to take a little bit more work. And so, if you're using Lightroom and it's working fine for you right now, then by all means continue to use Lightroom. But if you want to try something different, maybe Capture One might be something cool to try out. So, I mean, I personally have been using it and I use it for all of my images, but it's really hard for me to tell somebody who's already using Lightroom, if you don't see the need for it, keep plugging away at Lightroom, man. You can do some really good stuff. Mr. Camera Junkie says, hi, everyone. How's it going? Michael Wright, Daddy Daycare Squad checking in. Dude, welcome. Are you watching on your TV or your phone right now? I know when I'm on the Daddy Daycare Squad, I got my phone and I've got some headphones, so I'll have one I have one in one ear so that I could hear him if he's like saying something, and then the other ear I'm like listening to music or watching a YouTube video. It's terrible, I know. Rick says, I was hoping to hear you guess prices would fall and the Tamron 70 to 180 would be 900. Yeah, I don't see that happening. But here's the thing. The Sony version of that lens, the 70 to 200, is like 2,500, 2,600 bucks. So, generally speaking, for years, like Tamron, when they would do like, let's say they're 24 to 70 2.8, back when I shot Canon, the Canon version was like 2,200 bucks, and then the Tamron version was like 1,200 bucks. So it was like almost half price, $1,000 off. So I wouldn't imagine a 70 to 180 being, especially an f2.8, to be 900 bucks. Like that would be nice, but I don't see that happening. I think most of their stuff is priced pretty competitively as is. Let's see. Alan says, what post quarantine shoot or video are you most looking forward to? So I have been working on a shoot for a little while, and I don't want to give away too much because I feel like if I tell you what it is, maybe you'll be inspired and maybe you'll want to do it. And I want to do it, and I don't want to be influenced by someone else doing it first. But let's just say that I'm going to pair up my love of photography and my love of anime and martial arts and um, like Asian culture, and I'm going to put it all together into a photo shoot. That's very high level. It's not so specific, but that's what I want to try to do. That's what I'm really looking forward to. And I'm also really looking forward to using my new video camera. I got the new Sony FX9, and I'm just really eager to make some really beautiful looking videos with that. So Mr. Camera Junkie says, yes, I'm here with my son. That is awesome. Let's see. Ao Deji says, I'd like to get published, Vogue magazine and the likes. Any tips for a newbie? I don't want to submit my works on Caviar anymore to unappreciating magazines. So let me answer this first by saying I have not been published in Vogue yet. That's still on my bucket list of things to do. If it's even worth doing anymore. Because to be honest with you, like, I know a lot of people that have been published in fashion magazines. I don't particularly think, even though I haven't done it, part of the reason is that I haven't tried to, because I don't really see the benefit other than just being able to pat yourself on the back, to say like, yeah, I got published in Vogue. But I would say that when it comes to getting published, I would say looking at some of the smaller or more like territorial versions of Vogue. So in other words, like, if you live here in the US, you only know Vogue is Vogue, right? But there's Vogue in different countries, right? There's like Saudi Arabia, there's China, there's Vogue wherever, like all different parts of the world. So what I would recommend is finding out some of these different markets and finding out what type of images it is that you see in those markets, and maybe trying to do some images that maybe would appeal to like a Vogue Saudi Arabia, for example, and trying to get published that way versus trying to get published here in the States, because that could be a challenge. But I feel like that could be a really nice jumping off point to get published here in the US, when you can go and say, hey, I got published through GQ England, So yeah, I think that would be the way I would approach it. Alan says, any plans for videos on portraits of kids? I take photos of mine all the time, would love some tips from a pro. So I am so happy you're asking me that question, because yes, there is. I have a video that I'm working on, very much inspired by the times that we find ourselves in with this whole, stay-at-home orders in some places and things like that. And I'm going to show you guys how I would approach, hopefully professionally, photographing my son. So that is, matter of fact, so I got my A7R4 24-70 G Master, and I'll see if I can find, I don't know if I have any photos right now that I'm super proud of as far as from a tutorial perspective, but yeah, I'm working on these things. Like I'm very much trying to get some good photos here, and hopefully I'll be able to do a little tutorial for you guys on how I would approach that, because I think it's very appropriate. Let's see. Mr. Camera Junkie, are we going to see a comeback of MacGyver vids? I hope so. Actually, I had this idea that I wanted to do an entire series that is all in that MacGyver character. So like the whole tutorial from beginning to end would be me in that MacGyver outfit and teaching in that character. So if you guys want to see that, if you guys think it would be funny or be informative, let me know, because I had fun doing that MacGyver video, and I want to do it again. So Lou says, not sure if you've tested the Sigma 2470 2.8. If so, any thoughts? I briefly touched it, but haven't done a full test on it just yet. Um, I hope it turns out to be okay, because here's the thing. I've tested several lenses from Sigma. I've tested the Canon versions with adapters. I've tested the MC11 from Sigma. I've tested it with native, so the lenses that were DSLR that they converted, and they basically took the MC11 and built it into the lens. Tested all these different Sigma lenses, whether they were adapted or made for Sony in E-mount. And up to this point, I've not been super excited about the results that I've gotten. And so here's the thing. When it comes to buying lenses, I'm of the opinion that I would rather save up and get the native lens, get one that's either, for example, if you're a Canon shooter, save up and get the Canon lens. If you're a Nikon shooter, save up and get the Nikon. If you're a Sony shooter, save up and save or buy the Sony glass, because these lenses are optimized to perform the best with those systems. And especially in the case of Sony, the performance that you're going to get out of a Sony G Master lens versus most other lenses is not going to be the same. A lot of people get Sigma glass, and maybe they've just been very lucky. Maybe I've been unlucky in the ones that I've tested, that I'll do a photo shoot and the camera shows that it's in focus, but then when I take the photos, I'll get home and maybe 70% of them are in focus, which is not a good hit rate, right? Like when I'm using my G Master glass, I might have 1 out of 500 that might be soft. But every Sigma lens that I tried, the 35-1.2, the 70, the 135-1.8, the 85-1.4, all these different lenses that I tried out, and I was hoping that they were going to be like great options for the price. And when the focus would hit, it was great. But for some reason, in the way that I shoot with wide area autofocus in continuous, it wasn't accurate. Like, I couldn't hang my hat on these lenses to say that if I was doing a professional photo shoot that all of the shots would come in focus. It was going to be a hit or miss type of thing, and that bugged me. So I hope that this new lens is going to be a lot better. And I hope maybe the ones that I had just weren't good, right? That they just weren't good copies, but I don't know. Rick says, MQ, after this is all over, it would be nice to see you do some workshop costing around $250, workshops about using lights outdoors, say downtown in a park somewhere. I'm in Brooklyn. Yeah. So I had a workshop planned for Brooklyn with Focus Camera, March 23rd or 24th, but obviously that got canceled. So I always tell people, like, the easiest or the cheapest ways to do a workshop with me would be to wait for those dealer sponsored workshops, because they basically pay the lion's share of the cost to put on the workshop. So, for example, you might only pay $50 to come to a workshop, and then the store pays the rest, which is great. But I do plan on coming back to New York, and hopefully I'll be able to do some workshops when I'm in the area, and it's definitely on my agenda. Florio says, thinking to go to Manhattan and take some street shots depicting the empty streets, the desolated look of the city that never sleeps. I guess a lot of photographers are doing this, though. Yeah, I think it's a cool idea. And there probably are a lot of photographers that are there that are already doing that. So the trick is going to be, how can you do it different? What can you add to the conversation that might be different? Maybe you just get hyper focused and you just look at a small community within New York and how they're being affected. Like if it was me, maybe I go to Little Italy, or go to Chinatown, or, some of these different pockets of the city, and just photograph just that, and just show how people are living, in this time. And of course, wearing a mask and gloves and being safe. What famous person, this is Alan asking, Alan Michael, what famous person would you most like to photograph? Political, Hollywood, anyone? I would say, yeah, that's a tough one. So here's a weird thing about me. A lot of people really kind of get excited about celebrities. I've photographed famous people, celebrities, and like it's cool. Like most of them are really cool people, and it's fun to talk or whatever. But it doesn't really do too much for me. Um, I would say any celebrity that I could photograph that would be able to execute some of the visions that I have for like concepts, like different photo shoots that I would like to do. Any of them that could step up and have the look and express the way that I want the person to express in these photographs. I don't care who they are, what walk of life they are. If they're celebrities, great. That just makes it hopefully to where more people see it. But yeah, I don't know. It's probably a boring answer, but yeah, I don't know. So the whole like politician thing too. Like, I don't know. I feel like most people, like most famous people, politicians, they're all just like regular people that just happen to go a different way in life. So to me, they're not super interesting. Um, I don't know. Let me think about that. Let me think about that question. Um, so let's see, best movie actor. Um, there's a lot of really good actors out there. I really have enjoyed. Uh, what's this guy's name? Now I'm drawing a blank because my phone just beeped. Um, the guy from Sherlock Holmes, Benedict Cumberbatch. I've loved his movies. I think he's an exceptional actor. He would probably be somebody I would like to photograph because I think he would be an interesting dude to take pictures of. Um, Sam Rockwell, I've really enjoyed his movies over the years, and he's somebody I don't see too often these days, but he would be great. Um, Naomi Watts, yeah, that'd be my picks. Florio, I want to shoot that new building on the west side by Javits. Just scared some cop would get in my face. Yeah, I don't think you'll have a problem with that. Maybe now you probably wouldn't have a problem. I don't know how it is right now with the lockdown in New York, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like the one day that I went by there, I could have taken pictures. I don't think it would have been a problem. So Camera Junkie says Tamron 28 to 75 2.8 or Sony 85 1.8 for portraits. I own both, and I would pick the 85 1.8 only because number one, it's super sharp. Number two, I just love shooting at 85. The 28 to 75 is a very cool, versatile lens. So like, if let's say that's the lens that I would pack if I don't think I'm gonna need a lens that's in that focal range, but I just want to take it just in case, right? Then that's the lens I'll take with me. But I'll always choose the 85 1.8 because it's so good. Um, Florio says he's talking to Rick. Would they find photographers walking around shooting while social distancing, you think? I don't know if New York is that strict right now. Maybe you guys can tell me. Here in Florida, it wouldn't be a problem. Michael Wright Photo says sensor size. You can only squeeze so many megapixels on the current E-mount sensors. Do you think Sony will ever do a medium format size camera like Fuji or Hasselblad? I don't know that there's any limitation when it comes to how many megapixels you can get out of a sensor, uh, especially a full frame sensor. I don't know that there's any specific limitation that would uh, basically make it to where Sony has to go with a medium format in order to go higher res. And I think that there's a lot of other things that sensor makers and camera brands can do besides just having more megapixels. I can tell you, I mean, I have two A7R4s. They're all shooting 60 plus megapixels. They're great. And there's been plenty of times where that comes in handy. But the reality is there's so many other things from a functional perspective that I would focus on before that. So, things like the swivel screen, Things like just being more creative with the accessories that are available for photographers. One of the videos that I had planned on making was just talking about some accessories that I would like to see that are available, but they just don't offer the type of features and functions that I would like to see. So I would prefer to see camera manufacturers come out with products that are more functional and that have features that I didn't even think of that I needed, but like when the product comes out, it's cool. Kind of like how Peak Design did with their little travel tripod. Like that's cool, you know. That's something where I've had plenty of times where I wish I could take a tripod with me, but I don't want to have this big commitment of, you know, packing it in a bag and it taking up a bunch of space. Great solution, right? So I think if brands start to get a little bit more creative about the products that they're coming out with, I think we all win versus like worrying about the megapixel stuff, because that's not going to make our photos better. It's not going to make the process of taking a photo more enjoyable or better, in my opinion. But, you know, yeah, that's just me. Let me know what you guys think. Florio says, I would love to take portraits of Joe Exotic in prison. I mean it. Yeah, I don't know. I still haven't seen Tiger King just yet. I've heard like mixed things about that documentary. I'll eventually see it. But Mike Savinelli, how's it going? Hope you're well, dude. Yeah, I'm doing okay. I hope you're well as well. Let's see. Hero says, when you ain't a Sony pony, then you'll sing a different soon. I assume a different tune. No, I don't think so. I think it's all going to be pretty much the same tune, whether I, you know, was with them or not. You know, the cool thing is that these days I could shoot with whatever I want to shoot with. And, you know, right now, this stuff is serving me great, you know? So, yeah, that's all I can say about that. Rick Mentor says, at Florio, not sure, but I got a no standing ticket, even though I was in the car and no other car around. Yeah, New York, man, I'm telling you, I got my car towed in Brooklyn. That might be a topic for another day, but basically they said that I parked in a bus loading zone in Brooklyn, and you could see there's a sign that says no parking on the building, and it's like pointing this way, and I'm parked here, right? So they're saying from here over you can't park, and I'm parked over here where there's nothing. The curb is not colored or anything like that. At the very end of that block, there's a bus loading sign. And so they said that apparently the size of the bus, I mean, it was crazy. I took a picture of it. You could basically put like two of the longest buses that you can think of. And like on the backside of that, that's where I was parked. And they said that they actually have buses that are the length of an entire city block in New York. So you can't park anywhere. But there's no warning. There's no like, you know, it's not like it's painted yellow or anything like that. Like I parked, I didn't even see the bus loading sign. They towed my car. And it was actually the day that I shot. If you go on my channel here and you see the video of the hand posing video that I did with Masumi, right after I finished filming that, I go down to my car and my car was gone. It was crazy. So yeah, they're pretty funny about that. Mr. Camera Junkie says, you're in Florida, South Florida. I'm in Hollywood. Yes, so I am in Florida now. I haven't put that in any videos, but if you guys are watching this live stream, now you know. I moved from New Jersey to Florida. I'm in Central Florida now. So I'll be making a video on that soon. Johnny says, no COD. Yeah, no COD today. Everybody was grumpy that I was playing Call of Duty. So I figure instead of watching gameplay, you get to watch my beautiful face. Rick says, hey, I thought you were in New Jersey. I thought you were a Jersey guy. Yeah, I've been a Jersey guy for the last 6 years, but ended up moving back to Florida to be closer to family. And I do plan on coming back to Jersey every other month once all this stuff is great, you know, is done. What Peak Design tripod are you talking about? The new one, the carbon fiber one that was real small. If you look up Peak Design tripod, I think they only make one, and it's really good. Mr. Camera Junkie, I was talking to Rick Mentor. I thought the same. Yeah, I have been. Last month is when I moved. from New Jersey to Florida. So that's why the content has been kind of trickling, because I've been in the process. Like, I actually drove from New Jersey to Central Florida with 3 dogs. And then, of course, the moving company with all of our stuff. And it's just been, yeah, it's chaos. That's why I have this background for this live stream, because on the back side of it, there's boxes. And, you don't want to see all that. Let's see. Lou says, recently purchased A7R4, and when I need that extra reach and crop, besides losing some pixels, is there anything else I'm losing? I don't know that you're losing anything. You're probably losing some money because you're going to need more storage. I had to buy some new hard drives to save up all those files, because the R4 files are big. But yeah, that's probably it. Let's see. If you get a job offer that you don't usually do, different type of photography, you say yes or no. By the way, now there is no job at all. So this is kind of necessary. So here's my take on that. And this has been my take regardless of all of this COVID-19 stuff. If you have the opportunity as a photographer to make money, and it's within your ability to be able to deliver that, then I would tell you to go ahead and do the work, right? Like, I've done weddings, for example. I've photographed things that are outside of my typical genre of photography, and I get paid for it, and it's fine. Where I think photographers mess up is that they do these things and then they start posting it on their social media. So, for example, like, I've been hired to do portraits of animals, right? So I'll go into a person's home, set up a background and take pictures of their dog, their cat, whatever, right? So am I going to start posting on my Instagram that, like, oh, here's this dog portrait that I took the other day? When you do that, it confuses your public. It confuses the public. It confuses people that could be potential customers and clients of yours. So what I would say is just photograph everything, make that money, and just don't post it online, right? If you get to the point, let's say 6 months from now, you've been hired to take portraits of everyone's pets, and that seems to now be like what people are doing. Like, your town all of a sudden just wants to have pet portraits, and they're spending good money for that. But you don't have that on your website because maybe you're a wedding photographer, right? You'll have a body of work now that you could show because you've been doing it for 6 months. At that point, by all means, put it all out on social media as a project, as a body of work that you did over the last 6 months. And if people continue to hire you for that, great. But what you don't want to do is, okay, I'm a wedding photographer, but I'm going to take pet portraits today and post that on social media. Tomorrow, I'm going to take pictures of babies. Next week, I'm going to do maternity. The week after that, I'm doing engagements. The week after that, I'm doing headshots for corporate people. And then I'm going to do underwater photography. Like, don't show all of that until you have, 20, 30, 40 images in your portfolio that you could show off to say, yes, now, on top of being a headshot photographer, I'm also a pet photographer. Look at my entire gallery. Great. Perfect. Do that. But yeah, in this economy that we're about to be into, if you get the opportunity to do something that's within your comfort level, by all means, get that money. Photography ain't going to get any cheaper, so we're definitely going to need it. It's a very good question. Florio says, I noticed a lot of haters are against Sony and shooters. Never understood why. I shot Nikon, Canon, Fujifilm, Pentax, and Sony over the years. They're all tools. Stop the nonsense. Yeah, people are going to do what they're going to do. I noticed very early on when I started shooting Sony that there was a lot more. I think in the beginning it was like people were surprised. They were like, well, why are you shooting that when you were shooting Canon before? And there was a lot of curiosity about why I would have switched, which I didn't understand, because to me, I'm like, I switched because I like using the system better. But there is a lot of, like, generally speaking, there's a lot of hate towards people that shoot anything other than what they shoot, and it's unfortunate because the things that I show off in my videos while I'm using, the brand that I'm using, you could use whatever brand you want and you could still get something that's going to look, you know, relatively similar to what I showed. So I think a lot of times people are very, it's as a content creator, it's really challenging because you have a portion of your audience that they want to know everything that you use. They want to know what you used, what color it was, what settings you had. Like they want everything to the T. And then you have another side of it where they get mad if you say, well, I shot this with an A7R4. Oh, you're a fanboy and, every other name in the book. And it's like, well, I have to serve the audience, right? The majority of the audience wants to know the gear that I'm using. So that's not to say that they want to use the same thing. They just want to know, like, what did you use to shoot that? So that's why I share that information. So yeah, it's a tricky thing. Even when some of you guys might know, like I used to create content for Adorama TV. Um, and it was an interesting thing because at the time on Adorama TV, I was the Sony person, right? Like I was the one that was creating Sony related content on Adorama TV. And so what I found was that their audience, which is the same type of audience that's watching my stuff here on my channel, they saw somebody who was using something other than Canon or Nikon, and they immediately downvoted a video. Like you would see a video post up and it's a 6-minute video and the video is only up for 1 minute and they'll thumb it down. And it's like, dude, you didn't even watch the video. Like, how can you thumb down the video so quick, right? And a lot of times, a lot of the comments were like troll type of comments, like, oh, you're fanboy for Sony. And it's like, dude, I didn't even say the word in the video. Like, I just show the gear that I used. I tell people the settings, whatever. So I noticed that. And I don't know where it comes from. And it's unfortunate because, what ends up happening is that the availability of quality content on YouTube ends up getting distilled. Because imagine, for example, and I'm not going to say this happened or not, but when a company, for example, like let's say Adorama sees the comments that are being left on these videos, and they say, well, there's a lot of people that are hating on you, right? Because they don't like your content. When in reality, it's not that they don't like the content, they're just offended by the fact that I'm using something different than them. So how do you combat that? The people that, for you guys that are out there, if you have content creators who you're really enjoying or finding the information useful that they're putting out, the best thing that you could do is leave a comment on the video and give it a thumbs up. Because I know I've been guilty of it in the past. I'll watch a video from a content creator that I watch all the time and I don't engage with the video. And so when you have people who are heavily motivated by just negativity and hate, that will quickly thumb down a video like within 2 seconds of it going up, which happens on my videos. I'm sure this video right now that you're watching has thumbs down. In any of my videos, if you put the notifications on, within the first 10 minutes of the video being up, I immediately get 1 to 3 thumbs down. Over the course of like 24 hours, 7 to 10, 11 thumbs down. And it usually stabilizes somewhere in that ballpark, unless the video was pretty bad, which it happens. We all have that as content creators. But I feel like I have the same the same 3 to 11 people that just like immediately thumb down a video, and most of it is because of the fact that I'm shooting with something different than what they shoot with. And it's unfortunate and it sucks because, who knows? I mean, I could be creating content for a lot of other brands and companies right now, and I'm not doing it because, sometimes they hate on you for using stuff that's different than what they got. So, Camera Junkie says, welcome back to the state. Thanks. Michael Gomez, how's it going? Tim Sorrells, how's it going? Good afternoon. Let's see. Nee says, welcome to Florida. Do you have any plans to do a workshop with Profoto using Sony camera? Also, any recommendations on hard drive? Say 12G. Thanks for the well wishes. I do have plans for workshops. Obviously, they're postponed right now because I'm trying to figure out how that's all going to work. But once everything is back to normal, I am planning to do some stuff here in Central Florida first and foremost. probably at my friend Quay's coffee shop. So I'm wearing his shirt right now. Got to represent local business. So, but yeah, that's in the short term. I'll probably be doing some local stuff in Central Florida, but once the travel stuff gets back to normal, that is definitely on the agenda. And then recommendations on hard drives. I have a 12 terabyte portable hard drive from Sony, but I mean, honestly, like these days, there's so many decent hard drives out there. What I would tell you is check out the Synology. Um, they have this like thing where you can put 5 to 7 different hard drives. I think they have smaller ones too, but it's network attached storage. Those are awesome. So it's just Synology network attached storage. Look them up on Amazon and you'll see them. They're really good. Let's see. Sorry, I wasn't clear, but when I say if I'm losing anything besides the pixels, am I losing any sharpness or picture quality when cropping? Sorry, just new to the photography world. Okay, gotcha. So you're wanting to know if you put it into APS-C mode on the A7R4, are you losing anything in terms of sharpness or picture quality? To my eyes, I haven't seen anything, but I don't want to say 100% one way or the other, but I can tell you I've used it in crop sensor mode when I needed to get, let's say if I go out with a 2470, right? If you put it into APS-C mode, you get a 1.5 times crop factor, and you still get like a 26 megapixel photo. So to my eyes, besides losing that field of view, I don't notice any lack of detail, sharpness, color, all that stuff. Like the only thing you're losing is the fact that you just went from full frame to crop sensor. So that's pretty much the majority of what I see. What's the best way to continue or to combine portrait, fashion, and editorial photography? That's the $1 million question, right? The best way to combine it, I think, is just to really understand how each one is the same and where they're different, and then just try to see where that intersection is between the three and just toe that line. It's not easy. Mav Fan says, before Sony, there was a lot of Canon versus Nikon talk. When I get together with photographers, Sony made a splash, especially with younger photographers, and Canon Nikon users pivoted their hate towards Sony. Yeah, I noticed that too. You know, when I first started, I shot Canon, and you know, I always had the Nikon people like, oh, I don't know why you shoot Canon, it's inferior, and you know, vice versa. And now it's just like most camera companies are making really good cameras these days, you know, so it's not a 2-horse race like it was for many years. You know, you have a lot of camera brands, not just Sony, that are making compelling products in the marketplace, you know, and so now it's that hate is now being spread out. You know, some of those people that are diehards of their brands are still, you know, it's just like now, like I'm an Android user and I use Windows. I get hate. But at the same time, here's the funny thing, like, I don't care. Like, I use the stuff that I like to use, and that's all I'm worried about. Like, if somebody else wants to use something else because they think it's better for them, cool. Like, you do you. But for me, I use the stuff that I like, that works best for me, and you know, that's okay if somebody uses something different. Tim says shilling. Yeah, there's you know, here's the thing. In the last video that I just posted up kind of talks about this, but you know, to me, like, there isn't any real true shilling that can happen on YouTube these days, because you know, there's no point, right? Like, for example, let's just say if a company says, hey, I'm going to give you this tripod for free or this lens for free, and all you have to do is just talk about how amazing it is. Most people out there, if you really wanted to buy this stuff and you're watching these videos and you're in photography, you just go out and you buy it. Like, there's no point in going out and talking about how great something is when you really didn't think it was that great, just so that you can get the product for free. There's no point in it. And I know for somebody like myself, you know, I work just like everyone else. And so for me, like, there's no point for me to go and shill products that I don't believe in. If you hear me talk about a product, and I've said this behind closed doors often, and now I'm on this live stream, so I'll tell you guys. Um, if you hear me talking about a product or a service, it's because I used it and I like it, and I'll probably like it a lot. But on the flip side of it, if you don't hear me talking about something, then chances are I probably didn't like it, or I haven't used it, because I think ahead of time I probably won't like it, right? So, I tend not to make videos talking about things that I don't like, because I'm not that type of person. I'm not trying to run that type of channel where it's like sensationalized, why this thing sucks and 10 reasons why you shouldn't buy, blah, blah, blah. Like, maybe I'll have more views and subscribers from it, but not really super interested in doing that. So, but yeah, that's kind of my take on that. Tim says, you have 2 thumbs down. Why would someone thumb down a live video? Laugh out loud, just as you were saying. Yeah, I can't see the thumbs down. I can just see the thumbs up. So this is where I say that if you are watching this live stream right now and you enjoy the content and you appreciate the time, it's been an hour that I'm spending answering your questions, click that thumbs up, please. Because and it's not just for me, but content creators in general, that thumbs up is telling YouTube, hey, this is content that I like, and it could potentially go out to more people, so that maybe if they're into photography, they might watch the video as well. When you thumb it down, it tells YouTube, you know what, this isn't good stuff, right? And if it's just the haters that are, getting to express their opinion, then unfortunately people miss out. So, it sucks. It sucks that, that's what it's come down to. But, I just ask you guys, if you're watching the live stream and you appreciate the time and the insight and everything else, you don't have to send any money. I'm not asking for donations because I don't need it. Just give me a thumbs up. Much, much appreciated. And to the 2 people that left the thumbs down, it would be more helpful if you left a comment and say, I'm leaving a thumbs down on this video because I don't like fill in the blank. I don't like that you're using a ring light to light your videos, Miguel. Thumb down. Like, tell me, let me know. Kirk Davis says, saw you at WPPI. You were busy, so I did not say hello. Man, I wish you would have said hello. I know I'm when I go to these shows, it's really interesting. Like this year at WPPI, it was a smaller audience, but I felt like more people, maybe because of this YouTube thing, more people knew who I was. Like there was actually a time in these last few years where I'd be able to, I could go to WPPI or Photo Plus or Shutterfest or whatever. I could walk around through these photography conferences and no one, maybe I would get one person a day that would be like, hey, I see you on YouTube. I support your stuff. WPPI this year was very weird. And I feel for some of my friends like Manny Ortiz and Jessica Cabesi that are in the hundreds of thousands or millions of subscribers, that I'm sure they can't take more than 2 steps without somebody, stopping them. I'm not at that number, but I mean, I was getting stopped left and right. So it was very, it's beautiful, it's a beautiful thing to be able to, see people face to face that watch my stuff on YouTube. And, I always try my best to take time to sit and talk to everyone when I go to these shows. So I wish you would have said hi, man. That would have been cool. But next time. I love my Sony only before of the eye autofocus makes life easy, but I really hate how they screw us with the price tags on the lenses. Not fair. The price tags on the lenses, the only thing I can think of right now is to tell you that a lot of that has to do with politics, and it has to do with these tariffs coming out of China. When the cost of bringing a product to the market goes up, that unfortunately trickles down to us. I don't know if that's the case with these lenses, but to me, the cool thing is that when you buy a Sony lens, you're not thinking like, unless you bought, for example, like the 51.8, well, 55.18 is really good. The 51.4 is really good. So you might end up buying another 50 mil at some point. But like if you buy a lens like the 70 to 200 G Master or the 2470 G Master, the 135 G Master, you ain't going to be replacing it anytime soon. So that's the good thing, in that if you spend the money it's going to take you a long way unless you break it or lose it or something. So um, about that image says it's a RAID drive for multiple hard drives. Yes, that is correct. The Synology setup is awesome, and that's what it does. Lou says, thank you for the responses. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Angel says, what work are you doing nowadays? I just finished a couple of different projects. A lot of the stuff that I've been doing lately has been for video, believe it or not. I've been getting requests to do a lot of video related projects. But yeah, and doing a lot of work for sponsors. So apparently they want to keep marketing stuff. So got to be there for them too, because they keep the channel alive. Angel says, all right, that was Angel's question. Eric says, and also shilling would be short-term success anyway, since ultimately some other YouTuber will go and give an honest review and expose you. That seems so obvious, so I never think anyone is shilling. Yeah, I totally agree. You know, I think the only truly, the only people out there that are really talking about shilling is Ken Wheeler. Like, he's the only one that's really out there that has this very critical, very like biased view on the community, where he thinks that anybody that's talking about anything in a positive light, that they're shilling. And you know, I don't know if it's because he doesn't work with brands or he doesn't, you know, do those types of things. And again, it goes back to the topic of my last video, but I really don't believe that the majority of content creators out there are shilling. And you know, I believe that people try things out, and if they like them, they report back on those things. I also believe that for the most part, that most products that come out these days are not that bad. You know, they may not have all the features, they might not have the quality that you personally might want, but I don't think companies are, you know, it's not like it was back in like the 90s or in the 80s when, like, you know, back then, like, Sony pretty much put out like the best electronic stuff. They're kind of like the Apple of today, but like back in the day. So, you know, there were other brands. Like, I remember in the audio side of things, you had JVC, you had Iowa, um, you know, you had all these other brands that they would put out decent stuff. But, you know, if you bought like a name brand, or even Panasonic or Magnavox or Zenith or Sharp, you guys remember any of these brands, leave a thumbs up. But you know, there was a big difference in the quality from one brand to the next. And I feel like nowadays, we're in 2020, the majority of stuff, even some of these like knockoff products and stuff from China, like a lot of them are okay, like they're respectable quality. So to make a video about a product and say, hey, I like this product, it works well for me, whatever, that's not shilling. You know, nobody's getting paid enough to shill. I don't care if they gave you you know what shilling would be to me? If Red came to me and said, hey, we want you to test this like $100,000 camera, and we want you to do a review, and we're just going to give you the camera for free. Like, $100,000 product, that would be shilling. If I went up and I did the video and it was like a crap product, you know, but I got a $100,000 camera out of it that I could resell, maybe. But dude, you're not shilling for a lens or for a strap or, you know, a camera. Like, and the brands aren't giving you that stuff to give you the opportunity to shill. So I don't know. It's a rant and it's a talk for another day, but I agree with you. Florio says, God, I hate the haters. Yeah. You know, I have a weird take on the hater thing. I don't hate haters, because I think that to some extent you have to be, as a creator, you have to go out and find yourself some haters, as Uncle Grant Cardone would say. Because if you don't have haters, then you're not reaching enough people, right? There's always going to be people that like you and people that don't like you. I talked about this story not too long ago, but I was in Denver, Colorado, randomly for a trip. And I was with my wife, we're walking around the town, and they had at the museum, they had the entire life work of Van Gogh. And it was like his earliest works all the way up until the last works when he died. And I want to say it was like 50 or 60 bucks to get tickets to this art exhibit, and you get to walk around. And it was very cool because they had Van Gogh's work, and then they had the and this is original, right? The original Van Gogh stuff. And then they had the works that inspired the work that he made. So like you would see, okay, this work from Van Gogh was inspired by this other artist. And so you see like they had like a painting of a vase or a vase, however you want to pronounce it. You have Van Gogh's, and then you had the person that he saw the work, and he basically was copying it, like he's ripping it off. And I'm walking through this exhibit, and I'm like, I see Van Gogh's, and I see this other artist's work, and I'm like, man, well, that other artist's work was really good. I like their painting better. Their picture of their vase or their painting of their vase was so much more detailed. It's beautiful. The use of color, right? And I'm literally going through the entire exhibit. And on more than one occasion, I really didn't like Van Gogh's stuff compared to the stuff that he was inspired by. But here's the funny thing. I paid 50, 60 bucks for a ticket because it's Van Gogh, right? And I walked out thinking to myself, you know what? I know Van Gogh. I think the majority of people watching this live stream, if I say Van Gogh, you've heard the name. But if I would tell you the name of any of those other artists that had their work alongside of his that were arguably better, you might not even know who they are, right? So that taught me that there are going to be people that just don't like your work, and that's fine. And there's going to be people that don't like your personality. They don't like they don't like my beard that I have grays. I don't know. Like there's going to be something that they don't like, and that's totally fine. But what I think that is more important is that if you individually like the work and you like the time and effort that's being put into it, if you support that creator just by leaving a thumbs up and just by leaving a comment on the video, that's all you need to do, because that's going to drown out those little handful of haters. Like I don't even pay attention to them these days. They hating because they got yelled at by their mom to clean their room and got that chancleta thrown. Yeah, dude, that chancleta makes you do some crazy stuff. Mike says Canon lenses cost a bundle too. New high quality costs money. This is true. A year ago, I was introduced to Mac OS. Now I don't really care. Throw at me Windows or Mac OS or Linux or whatever. I will get the job done. It's not about what you use. Learn to use everything. This is very true. Totally true. Like you use the stuff that works for you. Rick says sharp, the quality goes in before the name goes out. Kirk says appreciate your channel and the topics you cover. Thank you. Dan Watson in the house, learning cameras. What's up, bro? Can't believe you are now just down the street and we can't even meet up. Dude, I'm telling you, we are due for a good Mexican dinner. Or I don't know, maybe you picked dinner this time. But I totally agree with you, man. It's so weird that it's been over a month. And I was thinking like, man, when we get here, like we need to get together, go, just hang out for a little bit, and we literally have not even been able to do that. This is some really crazy times we're living in right now. So, but I hope you guys are doing well. Hope your family is doing well. And hopefully once this craziness, goes away, that we can link up and hang out for a bit. So, let's see. Shadab says, hello from India, 2 a.m. here. Wow. Dude, what do you do at 2 a.m. other than watching my ugly face on this YouTube live stream? Man, 2 a.m. I used to stay up. Like, you guys might not know this, but I would do a lot of my retouching at night. So probably from like 10 to like 1 or 2 in the morning, I would stay up and, I get a little shot of whiskey and just sip on some whiskey as I just retouch my photos. And I will tell you guys, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just I'm getting old, but dude, by like midnight, I am toast. Like I try to stay awake and I can't do it. So props to you for being up at 2 a.m. I couldn't do it. I can't function if I don't get my sleep. So anyway, with that being said, thank you guys. It's been hour and 15 minutes for this live stream. So I want to thank you guys. And again, if you guys enjoy the content, please leave a thumbs up. And I'm not saying that just in passing, I'm saying that because there are a lot of hater jabronis that are out there that they literally turn on their notifications to watch my live stream or watch my video, and they don't even watch it. They just immediately thumb it down and they back out of the video. So, and again, as a public service announcement for all creators on YouTube, if there are content creators that you watch who you enjoy, it is so important. And it seems like it's nothing, but it's so important. At the very least, leave a thumbs up. Even better if you can leave a comment and just say like, hey, I'm enjoying your content, thanks for your time, whatever, fill in the blank. You can even just leave a thumbs up emoji, smile and a thumbs up. That's perfectly fine. But it's so important, especially nowadays with the climate that we're in right now. Support your favorite content creators. It takes a lot for people to take the time to do stuff like this. On top of the hour and 15 minutes of being here chatting with you guys, it took probably a half hour to set up the lights and find where all this stuff was. And this is just me as a content creator. There's a lot of other people out there that, it takes them even more time to set up their live streams, and they're not as basic as me with just like a collapsible backdrop and a ring light. Yeah, it takes a lot of time and effort to do these things. So if you appreciate the content and you enjoy it, just drop a thumbs up. So just looking at the comments here real quick. Lou was saying thank you. Wilburn is watching from Washington State. Eric says, dude, same. Retouching is way more fun with a glass of wine. Amen to that. We appreciate you. Thanks for your time. Thanks, Camera Junkie. Thanks for watching. Rick, fantastic having you, MQ. Wish you lots of success with your move to Florida. I appreciate that. Hopefully see you when I get back up to New York. Mike says, YouTube gave me a notification an hour late. Dude, what is up with YouTube? I tell you. Well, here's the good news. Once this live stream is done, maybe I'll leave it live on my channel for probably for the first day, and we'll see how it goes. And then I'll probably unlist it. So you'll be able to watch it afterwards if you got here late, because we talked about a lot of stuff. Florio, thanks. Thank you, Miguel. Keep on rocking. We appreciate you a lot. Thank you for your time and sharing your knowledge. Haters can shove it. Thanks for the support, man. I appreciate that. Johnny Rodriguez says, I appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate that. And so anyway, listen, big thing that I want to tell you guys. Stay safe, right? I know that there's a lot of stuff going on here and there, talks about, is this a serious virus? Is it not? Listen, don't take the chance, because I want you guys to be out there. I want you guys to, if photography is your passion, I want you doing it a year, 2 years, 3 years from now. Like, that's my sincere goal and wish for you guys. So stay safe, take care of your family, take care of your friends, and hopefully once this is all done, we can get back to business as usual. But in the meantime, I'll try to do some live streams. I'm going to try to do maybe 1 to 2 a week up until we get things back up and running. But I'm also going to be doing these gear reviews. So again, huge thing, if you're watching this, support the content. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit different now than it would normally be, but support the content in the meantime. Enjoy it. Hopefully some of it will pertain to you and help you out. And anyway, that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks again for spending some time here with me this afternoon. And see you guys in the near future.